Hello and welcome back, fellow Indies. If you're new to this is Indies on Indie, and I'm your host, Patrick Poe. Today starts a two-part series about the local comedy game show ListOff. I've got one of the co-creators on today, and next week you get to hear from Evan Christian Galt and see if the stories line up. I mean, I guess Evan could just listen to this podcast and then the stories would be exactly the same. Anyway, our Seed and Spark contest closed. And we did try our hardest, and we got incredibly far in the competition, but we did fall just short of pitching the Duplass brothers. But I can't focus on that. I've got to keep moving forward. We keep filming, keep creating. Eventually something will break through. I did find out something kind of weird this week, though. YouTube changed its monetization guidelines a bit ago, and what that means is that it changed which videos can play ads before allowing the video creators like myself to make money on their YouTube content. And I wasn't too worried about that. We don't post anything that I find too explicit or controversial. Plus, it's all comedy. It's just a joke. But we did learn this past week that a small handful of our Laugh KC videos have been flagged. And I found it weird because it's pretty much all the female comics we've had on our show. Just the women have been deemed inappropriate for ads. And I find that strange and kind of beyond coincidence that every single woman we've ever had has been flagged for being inappropriate, especially because one of our female comedians that performed did a clean set. I sent it to YouTube to review the video, but they say they won't review the video till it gets over 1,000 views. I guess what I'm saying is go watch Andrea Kaspari on Laugh KC so we can fix this. All right, let's get to the show. I had a great interview with a friend of mine and one of the producers of the most original and entertaining comedy shows in Kansas City. So here you go. Here's the comedian who co-created the live comedy game show ListOff, which is having its Tournament of Champions in November. So every Tuesday in November, stop into Tapcade in the Crossroads District and catch this extremely entertaining, free comedy game show. Also, he will be performing as part of our IX Productions' next live comedy show, Laugh KC, on November 2nd. Tickets are on sale now, and you can watch his sketch, Cousin Eric's, on the IX YouTube as well. So here is me and Nick Manfredi.
Do you like Seinfeld?
I do like Seinfeld.
There you go.
I'm a huge fan of Seinfeld. I feel like people, I don't know, underappreciate him, I guess. And then if you want to like be just kind of
A little bit closer.
Yeah, like that.
Is that good?
That's beautiful.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. No, I feel like I don't know. Today, Seinfeld's underappreciated.
For sure. Absolutely.
I think at the time in his height, obviously people understood and appreciated Seinfeld. And just nowadays, I don't know what it is, but people look back on it as hokey or I don't.
People like to make fun of it. I don't want to be a Seinfeld apologist, but people do. I don't know. They treat it like it's the worst hack thing ever.
Yeah. But no, it was original when he was doing it. Like now
Right.
everyone's done it.
Yeah, I'm not going to defend his stand-up, but the show is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, because Curb is Larry David's show.
Right.
Based on himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like him post Seinfeld in a semi-retired state. Yeah.
So what about it is your inspiration though? Like,
well, okay, so I don't know if you know this, but the scenes in the show are all improvised.
I've heard that.
It blows me away because they end up saying the funniest things. I mean, it's crazy. They have the best, most talented people, but I like their approach to it. Like, he comes up with a story. He knows what happens in every scene of the story.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell the people he's working with the whole story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's like, all right, in this, we're going to argue. You're going to say something about my pants. And that's it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that then.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Evan Christian Galt and I used to make videos in high school.
Yeah.
And we kind of had the same approach. And we didn't even realize that that's what Curb was doing.
Yeah.
We thought nobody did that. We thought it was just winging it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we're just underprepared. And you're like, no, it's a style.
It's a style. I wish we had known then. We might have kept up with it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, The League did that too. I don't know if you've watched
Did The League do that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, The League is an improvised show as well.
Okay.
That's like why I watched it.
I'm going to have to give it a chance now.
Yeah, I heard an interview, and Jason Mantzoukas is on like as a guest star every once in a while. And he was talking about how for like a 22 minute episode, it's 7-page scripts or something like that. It's
Pretty
just,
short.
Yeah, you're just like, this is an idea. That's all you need, and we just do the scenes.
It can be written fast and made fast, right?
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Editing, that's got to be, oh god.
That would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Did you
But-
do much of the editing for when you and Evan did?
I didn't. Christian usually did the editing.
So did you call him Christian?
I go back and forth. I don't know. I'm never sure what he prefers me to call him.
Yeah.
And then for the general public, I've seen him change it in different ways. Like he prefers different things in different
Yeah.
venues. So
Well, now he's going by the 3 names.
yeah, all 3 names: Evan, Christian, Gold.
But that's just so like in general conversation, it's too much to say.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like every time I say hi to him, I'm like, do I just say all the names? Like, hello, Evan Christian Gold. It's good.
You
to...
should. He probably prefers it. I called him Evan Christian on the last ListOff info.
Yeah.
Yeah, just was like, I'll throw in both, whatever. All right, Evan Christian.
No, you gotta have the Gold. You're missing
Yeah.
the Gold. That's the
Keep trying to get him to go by Ethan,
why Ethan.
just because it's funny to me. Or Adam.
Just pick a whole new name.
A whole new name, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since he can't decide on the 2, just start over.
Yeah, you gotta start completely over. Chris. I love calling him Chris. I don't think he appreciates it, but...
That's good to know.
It's funny because we have the same middle name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you Nick Christian Manfredi then?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but he goes by the middle name, blocking me from going by the middle name.
Do you want to go by the middle name?
No, but I feel like if I had never known him, I might have considered it.
That's great to like have that idea. I would have never thought to go by my middle name.
What's your middle name?
Ryan?
Ryan? That's a good name.
It's an okay name. It's
Patrick Ryan Poe.
it's a
Okay.
strong.
Is Patrick Ryan a common combo?
I don't know. I think it's just because there's a comedian in
Patrick Ryan.
town, Patrick Ryan.
Okay, just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I met him, I was like, oh, that's too close to my name. I think one of us has to change. And I'm too set. Like I've had it for 25 years.
That's rad.
I'm sure he has too, but I only know him for 6 months, so I assume he's had it shorter.
Right on. Dude, I'm noticing this cup on your desk. Does that say Osage River Trading Company?
It does say Osage River
Did
Trading
you get that at
Company.
Boy Scout camp?
Hell yeah, I did.
I found my cup in the attic the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I refuse to throw it away.
I know, like it has
Slushy refills, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The best part of being at camp.
Yeah, no. I love that camp. That was
Yeah.
great.
So are you a Boy Scout?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm an Eagle Scout.
Are you?
Mhm.
Me too.
Very cool.
Nice.
What troop were you in?
Troop 184 out of St. Pius in Mission.
Okay. 284.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where?
Prairie Village.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Where in, because there's the 3 camps. There's Sawmill, there's Prairie Star.
We always
and
stayed in Lone Star.
You're a Lone Star guy?
Mhm.
We were Sawmill people.
Okay, I think we were there my second year, but that was the only
Yeah?
time we went there.
Yeah, we never, I've only stayed in Sawmill.
Cool.
I mean, I walked to Lone Star a lot, though, because it's got, like, all the Mickasay stuff.
Right, and the you have to go through there to get to the point, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So are you in Mickasay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What,
I'm a tom beater.
Me too.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow, small world.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Did you do Boy Scouts all through high school then, or?
Yeah. I thought it was a
Nice.
good time.
Yeah, me too. My troop actually disbanded because there weren't enough members at St. Pius,
Okay.
and so my troop disbanded, and I had to request a like extension for our charter so I could finish my Eagle Scout
Oh, wow.
because like I'd already started everything.
Eagle Scouts are already hard enough, and now you have to
Yeah.
request an extension.
Yeah, so I'd like go in front of the HOA Heart of America board and like formally request an extension for my troop and be like, yeah, I'm a troop. And they're like, all right, who's your leader? And I was like, I don't have a leader. And they're like, all right, who else is in your troop? And I was like, nobody else. It's just me. And they're like,
I'm
"All
sure they
right."
helped you out, though, right?
Yeah, they're like, all right, well, this is what you have to do to finish your Eagle Scout. We'll review your project and we'll sign off on everything.
Very cool.
And so I did it.
They're a very
Yeah.
helpful organization. As
Yeah.
as a kid, you don't realize that there's no way they're not gonna help you. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's still intimidating, but
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very scary to like be I think like 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy and have to like talk to these 6 adults about why you want to do something that makes no sense. Because
Right.
like I could have just gone to a different troop and kind of started over-ish,
Yeah.
Like, I would have still been a heart, but I would have had to have, like, started over some of my projects and some of that kind of stuff.
Right, and get to know the leadership and the troop.
Yeah,
all
and then I
that.
have to get to know all those different people, and
Mhm.
that's scary, especially with how much, like, meeting new people is frightening for me.
And it's already
So-
hard enough to make time for the thing itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very grateful. They gave me an extension. I finished it out. It was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's cool that you're in Boy Scouts. That makes me happy.
Yeah, I was happy to see that mug on your desk. That's awesome.
Yeah, I loved. That's the best part.
Yeah.
I want to go back just for slushies, man.
Dude,
Like,
I would. Yeah, I gotta have a kid now just to go back.
that's how I feel about my cousins. I'm like, I need to go visit them at Boy Scout camp just to get a slushie.
At least I don't have to have a son now. I can just
Just any
any
gender.
child. Yeah.
There's no pressure on gender, which I think is cool.
Me too.
actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of women who would have excelled in that environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like a gender specific environment in any way.
Right. It doesn't need to
Like,
be. That's totally
no.
unnecessary. That's such an old fashioned thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Mhm.
I totally agree. Yeah, I saw it and I was like, I don't really have a distinct stance because I don't think it really affects anything.
Right.
But maybe I'm weird. I don't know. So, when did you guys start ListOff?
We started
curiosity.
ListOff in December of 2015. So we had one.
Holy crap! You've been doing it for 2 years.
Well, yeah, pretty much, yeah. So we
awesome.
started season 1 at the very end of December of 2015.
2015.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that was technically the start of season 1, and we're about to wrap up season 2 now.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did you come up with ListOff? Is that completely original to you and Evan, or where did it come from?
So it was like we really wanted to do a show together.
Okay.
And so we kind of started with that idea, and we would toss ideas around. And he had been listening to a lot of like Doug Loves Movies. I don't know if you're familiar with that podcast.
I don't even know what that is.
So we were it got us interested in the idea of like a show where there aren't really stakes, but there are stakes, but the stakes don't mean much, you know?
Yeah, kind of like Whose Line, where there's points, but they don't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that. Because like, I don't know, I'm really anti-comedy contests that matter. It's so subjective.
Yeah.
It can even come down to just who was in the crowd that night and all that, and then people are always butthurt about it.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, something that wasn't a stand-up showcase, that could be a podcast, you know. Yeah, with a twist.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
We did a bunch of test episodes with my roommates, and just decided to book it and wing it.
That's awesome.
And went for it.
Who was on the first ListOff?
The very first ListOff was Tristan Newell,
Okay.
Jake Redpath, and Amber Lehman.
Oh, wow.
And it snowed. We booked it at Arts Bar. It snowed. They barely made it to the show. We barely made it to the show. And I think we had like 4 friends and family in the audience, and that was the audience.
Nice.
It was a fun show.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. It was the only one we did at Arts Bar, and it was a good time.
So, when you were at Tank Room for a while, weren't you?
Yeah, we were at Tank Room for most of that season.
Okay.
In fact, we were there for that whole season.
Oh, really? So you
Mhm.
did ListOff at Tank Room for a year then?
Yep.
What made you go to Tank Room? Just out of curiosity.
We liked the venue and the way it's set up, and that we could easily put 5 stools on stage, and they had the right sound equipment. And then everything we look for in a venue is that they're free.
Yeah.
So they didn't want
That's
to
a good
charge
thing
us
to look
anything.
for.
Yeah, because we just wanted to put on a show that we didn't have to put any money into,
Yeah.
and then we're not obligated to try to get money out of it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It is cool because it is a free show.
Yeah, it's
And that's
totally
like
free.
one of the reasons that I go to it, because being a broke artist, it's hard to make it to shows that cost money.
Right.
And so, like, whenever I'm like, oh, it's a free show, I can go to a free show. Like,
Yeah. And now we're at Tapcade, and they have good food and good drinks, good specials, so
yeah.
it's an affordable
How long
night
have
out.
you guys been at Tapcade?
Pretty much all of season 2, so since January, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's because Tank Room closed.
Yeah, mostly we
right?
had some issues with the ownership at
Okay.
Tank Room,
Yeah.
and so they kind of pushed us out very rudely, I'll say.
Okay.
But,
So they were done with
because then
lists.
they sold the business.
Yeah.
So, and the thing that they replaced us with got canceled unexpectedly, and we would have been in that trap had we stayed there. So it all worked out.
That's perfect for you.
Tapcade's been so nice to us.
Yeah, they're great guys.
Yeah.
The guys that handle Tapcade and Screenland Armor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they opened another Tapcade up there too, I think.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Those seems to be very popular. Are you a arcade bar guy, or is that just?
I'll go. I think they're fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last 2 times I went to Up Down, I didn't play any of the games.
You're like, nah, I'm just here to drink. It's cool. I
They
don't
have a
need
good
to-"
beer selection, yeah. And that patio. Oh my gosh. If they had a stage, I would move ListOff there.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But
That's awesome. How long? So you guys were already doing comedy 2 years ago.
yes,
When
we had been
you-
doing comedy for I'm going to say like 8 or 10 months.
Okay.
And then
So
we started the
kind
show.
of newish when you started your show.
Yeah, definitely. Still pretty green, and just wanted to find a way to get more involved. And if that means we have to make the stage time ourselves, then
Yeah.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
So you started doing comedy, like 3 years ago. Then.
Almost. I'm gonna say February of 15. I didn't take it very seriously for like 6 months.
That's okay.
I had taken a semester off of school. I was so sick of school, and I had like family drama and all this pressure, and I was like, it's time for me.
Yeah.
I'm doing something for me, and I was making music.
Oh, really?
And so I took a semester off of school to really push music. And then Christian was like, by the way, I went to an open mic. It was a lot of fun. And I was like, shit, you went to an open mic? Because we had both talked about stand-up for a long time.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to see you do this. So I went the next week. I saw him do it. And then the next week after that, I went on stage.
You saw him do it, and you're like, I could do that too.
Well, I was like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had both talked about it, and like he knew I always wanted to. Ever since I was a little kid, I just didn't realize that you could just go do it in Kansas City.
So where did that like start? Like,
Arts Bar.
you went to Arts Bar first?
Yeah, the Monday night open mic.
Nice.
For sure. I thought that was the only one at the time.
That's yeah. When I went to Stanford's the first time, that was the only open mic I knew existed.
Right on. Yeah.
And then Nick Nichols was like, "Nah, man," and like he just opened my eyes to the rest of like the comedy scene. I was like, "Oh man, I've been missing out on
There's a whole world.
so much."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all around, and nobody knows.
Nobody, and still most
Yeah.
people don't know. Yeah.
It's hard. It's kind of hard to find though, because like if you just Google like open mic Kansas City,
Mhm.
you just get Stanford's still,
Probably, and they're not even open right
and
now.
they're not even open. Yeah, exactly.
My gosh.
Yeah, because there was a guy who posted in the Kansas City Comedians page on Facebook, like, is there anywhere else to perform besides Stanford's? And we're like, you can't even perform at Stanford's, man. But so you started doing comedy almost 3 years ago. Where'd you go to school before that? Where were you?
I was at UMKC.
UMKC?
Mm-hmm.
Did you graduate?
I did, yeah.
You did?
I
Yeah.
graduated May 2016.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Was it with a music degree? Or...
No. I studied urban studies, and my
What
emphasis.
is urban studies?
Well, my emphasis was community development.
Oh,
So
okay.
just like the inner workings of cities and city planning, and just without the design element,
Okay. So what's the...
like policy and.
Did that interest you, or was it...
Yeah, no, I'm fascinated by it. Yeah.
Okay.
I love cities, and I think well-designed and planned cities can actually improve people's lives. I think
Okay.
we adversely affect people with bad design all the time, and it drives
Really?
me crazy. Oh, yeah.
So what do you think would improve Kansas City's, like, city?
If we were going to just lay out one thing that overall would help,
Yeah.
so there's a thing New York City did, and I think we should just steal it. And what they did is they set requirements for how a street should look based on how many people use it. So if less than 2 cars a day go down a street, they're like, well, then forget it. That should barely be a street. What we should do is paint it beige, like shorten the width of the entrance and exit to that street, and then put benches facing the street so that it can mostly just be a park. And then a car can go down it, but it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Just like requirements based on how much something is used to encourage more pedestrian use.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think if it encourages people to be more active,
Yeah.
then great. Yeah.
So you think the goal is to get more people out of their houses and into the city and just around?
Yes, but not directly. I'm not going to push people out of their house, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. I just think there's a lot of stuff that we can offer people for a really low cost, you know, like chess tables in parks.
Yeah.
That's a benefit to a community that does not cost much.
Interesting.
Yeah, or having parks be well lit at night.
Yeah.
Now
There
they're-
are no well-lit parks around here.
Why?
I don't,
You know? Yeah.
I don't
Bad
know.
design. Should
Yeah.
write your city council member.
Okay. I will. So do you want to get involved in that? Is that something that like interests you to the point that you...
I think eventually, yeah. But I want to get involved in a way that's like, it would involve some level of entrepreneurship on my part. And
Okay.
I don't have the money to start that, and I don't have the will or time right now. I would rather spend some time doing stuff I like to do, like comedy and writing. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So you were making music though 3 years ago. Do you
Mhm.
still do that?
I do, yeah. It's very recently become mainly hobby instead of
Career goal.
career goal. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that I just recently made that shift, and I don't know, it's kind of helped me make music, and now I'm like, oh dang, because now I don't care as much, so it's easier
Yeah.
to do. And
It's not like
who
life or
knows?
death. It's just like
Yeah,
enjoyable.
It's been a great outlet. I enjoy it. It's
That's
like
cool.
the anti-comedy.
So you said you always wanted to do comedy.
hmm
How early did that like? What
I-
started that?
I was like 10 or 11 years old. And so that was, okay, I used to watch The Tonight Show every night.
Oh really?
Yeah. And then I would watch Saturday Night Live, and my cousin Connor would always bring over comedy albums, and just got really into enjoying comedy. And I didn't realize that you could just work on it and do it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you start like writing jokes, you think? Was it during that time or were you
I tried at that time,
Yeah?
and I very quickly got lost in the, like, how do you write a joke, you know? And I don't know. I remember I looked up this Adam Sandler quote where he was like, when he was a kid, he would just do Rodney Dangerfield jokes to his
Yeah.
friends and family, and that's how he got into just doing it and being funny and then writing jokes.
Yeah.
And I think by that time, I never believed I could go down that path of doing comedy, so I didn't put a lot of energy into it.
Yeah.
But then when we were like 13, 14, 15, I started making videos with Evan. And
Was he like the driving force in that? Or
okay, so I had made like 10 videos with my cousin Connor, and we never released them or anything. They were just like really stupid stuff, but we enjoyed making it and rewatching it. And then Christian at that time wanted to be a director.
Oh yeah.
So he had a camera, and we just started, like, he started bringing it to school a lot, and like filming random stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we would just turn on the camera and pretend it's like David Attenborough in the wild, you know, and then we would put a little more writing into it and a little more writing, and
Yeah.
then we would have like, okay, what if we do a chase scene at a mall and like somebody steals something, and like, no, not from a mall. We
yeah.
had
No. I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Are those watchable still? Are they like
There's some on YouTube, yeah.
Yeah?
There's a handful. Shady Productions.
Shady Productions?
Shady Productions,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Where did you guys go to school? Because you guys went to school together, right?
We went to Shawnee Mission South.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. What year?
We graduated in 11.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
You would okay. No, Lola went there freshman year. So you wouldn't have been there at the same time as Lolo.
Okay.
She was at South for freshman year.
Oh,
a bit.
nice.
So I was like, oh, and then I figured it out in my head. Nah. So you're a year younger than me then, because I graduated in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's just, I don't know. Weird to know. So did you grow up around here then your whole life? Were you
Yeah.
Kansas City?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in Overland Park, and I spent a lot of time over here in Shawnee, actually, because my grandparents lived here.
Oh, really?
Just down the street. And, yeah.
Nice. Nice. And you went to UMKC
Mm-hmm.
for city planning.
Yes. I started off as an English major.
Oh, really?
Yeah, writing.
So when did
was always-
writing come into it?
Well,
Yeah.
it was always my, like, strong suit, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll go to college for writing, and I'll get a writing degree for,
Yeah.
like, journalism or something like that. And then in school, I was like, I don't know, do I really want to learn this much about how to use a comma and quotes? And, you know, like, I like Shakespeare, but I don't want to read all of Shakespeare. And so I figured if writing is my strong suit, I should just keep that and put it towards a different kind of degree.
Okay.
So I switched to urban studies sophomore year.
How did you find like that's not even a thing I would like.
I didn't know it
Look
existed,
for.
and as soon as I saw something that was like the urban studies program, that's when
Yeah.
I switched. I was just like, Yes.
That sounds you're
Yeah.
like, that sounds interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I have a great aunt who lives in the historic northeast part of KC,
Okay.
and my grandparents grew up there. My great aunt actually lives in the house she was born in, and she's lived there like 70 years now. I mean,
That's
it's crazy.
awesome.
Yeah. But I don't know, we would go over there to visit, and it was just so different of a kind of neighborhood or environment from the one I lived in Overland Park.
Yeah.
And like, you don't see drug dealers in Overland Park on the street corner, you know?
It's true.
Yeah, and I don't know, it always amazed me, like, why is this different from where I live? What
Yeah.
happened? Why did it used to be different? Why do my grandparents remember it being way different? So that was a big driving force in me doing urban studies.
What'd you learn? Why is it different?
Because people intentionally made it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't believe how much effort went into damaging neighborhoods. So like when the suburbs were first started, like the Country Club district in Kansas City.
Yeah.
You know J.C. Nichols.
Yeah.
Okay, so he came up with this huge real estate development, the Country Club district. Then he put a restriction on it that was like, you have to be white to live in this neighborhood. You'll only sell your home to white people, all this stuff, to attract people who lived in the inner city,
Yeah.
who were white, to move out there. But at the same time, banks wanted to sell those houses in the suburbs.
Yeah.
So they tried to force people out of their historic neighborhoods by, I guess they would try to find particularly rowdy people, and they would sell them a house in the middle of a community to purposely damage that community
Interesting.
and get people to move out. They even had people go knock on doors and be like, hey, this neighborhood's going to hell. You need to get out of
You need
here.
to get out of, like.
And then it was just systematically defunded
So why would a bank want to do that?
because they're making money off the homes people are moving to.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so
then,
slowly the neighborhood does go downhill
exactly.
because of the like ideas and because they're selling the house is cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
What a terrible thing to do to people.
Yes.
I mean, we're still dealing with it today.
Yeah.
And it's harder to deal with when people don't believe it happened or don't realize it happened.
Yeah. That's one of the hardest things is teaching people that a lot of things that happened in history happened. And it's interesting that people have that idea that they can just deny it or reject it, even though it's fact.
Right.
But I don't know. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
They're just like, nah, how could that be?
So you didn't think like writing was an actual like pursuable career?
I didn't see a path. No.
Yeah.
I just figured I'll do the corporate thing,
Yeah.
I'll get this degree, I'll work in a nonprofit. And I had an internship with like a neighborhood
Oh, really?
group. Yeah, and it was very slacks and polo, just like stuffy
That's
corporate
I
stuff.
can't even see you in that like world.
I'm a different person when I'm in that world. I don't enjoy it. I can do it, but I was like, what else is there?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for a while, I tried to combine those worlds, like that world and comedy. So we were gonna start a comedy business, and like open our own venue, and then I could be half corporate Nick and half comedy Nick.
Yeah.
And then I pushed corporate Nick off a balcony.
So you killed off corporate Nick.
Yeah, I had
When
to.
did
I
he
had
die?
No choice. Well, we never saw him die, so there's a chance
He could come back.
He could
Yeah.
come back. Yeah.
When was the banishing of corporate Nick for now at least?
Oh man.
Do you like have like a
it
spot in
happened
your head where you're like
right
that's when it
around the time I
changed?
graduated?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of change going on in my extended family leading up to graduation. And then Katie and I decided we wanted to buy a house at that same time. And we decided we wanted to start a business at that same time. And we were trying to graduate at that
Yeah.
same time. And it was so much stress and pressure. And I thought, you know what? When I graduate, it's like, I'll just be rewarded with like getting to see all my family and stuff. And like, it didn't end up being the relaxing celebration I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is a stain on this whole part of my life. It's like, it's time
Yeah.
to just put me and what I want to do first for a while.
So what was that at the time?
Uh,
Was that comedy?
Stand up, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
When did music come into play and out of play then?
Music came into play right around the start of high school. So I was like 13 or 14. I started taking guitar lessons. And then
Yeah.
I was in a band with Christian.
Yeah? What did
And,
Christian play?
He sang.
Okay.
And then our two best friends from that time. So the four of us were in a band. And God, we had a lot of fun. We put on shows. That's another thing that influenced ListOff, is that we as a band had to put on our own shows.
Yeah.
So we were like kind of used to what it takes to
Create a show.
produce something.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because when we were doing it in high school, we didn't know what we were doing, and we bit off way more than we could chew every time.
And like doing a show at a bar when you're a high schooler is a lot harder.
It was never at a bar, actually. we got the basement of Christian's mom's church.
Oh, nice.
But we would book like 3 bands and not plan enough time for setup. We would do all these crazy Christmas decorations. And so around that same time, I had been given a PA system by a friend of my parents who was in a band. So that PA system got me interested in like making music on my own, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of had a little bit more to work with. I had all this equipment around, so
Yeah. So what kind of music do you make?
I make basically instrumental hip hop.
Okay.
I don't like to narrow it down because it doesn't really fit that category.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit. Like my newer stuff leans towards jazz, but it's not jazz, and my older stuff leans towards alternative rock, but it's not. And just I don't know. It's an amalgam of things. I've kind of changed a lot over the years.
Is it instrumental because you don't have a lyricist, or is it instrumental
Basically.
because you don't want a lyricist?
A little of both.
Nice.
I worked with lyricists in high school, like while we were in a band, and then after that, we did like a small hip hop group,
Nice.
and I had a rapper to work with. But I'm tired of counting on people who don't want to see it the way that I see it. You know?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You're just too controlling for other people.
Well, it's not that I'm too controlling. I just don't want to wait on them to do their part
Okay.
when they clearly don't care as much.
Yeah. I understand that because like even with like the filmmaking, I think that's why me and Lolo do so much of it,
Mhm.
is because we only trust ourselves to do it because we know how much we care about it.
Okay.
Like if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I know how much commitment I have, and that's 100% all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a little more than I should even. Sometimes I should be like, no, I should work a job so I can eat a meal. But it's more like, no, we need to make the movie.
Right, yeah, because that's going to buy you a meal later.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's really hard to wake up to that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you just quit your job, right?
Yeah, in May.
In May?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah. How's that been as the indie artist?
The first half of it was very exciting, and I had my money saved up.
Yeah.
I felt comfortable. We had a whole summer's worth of traveling that we had planned all year for, and so it was really exciting. I felt like I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And then we traveled June and July and got back in town. While we were out of town, we were listening to comedy podcasts all the time and learning a lot and writing a lot and not being able to express it because, we're in the Grand Tetons. There's no open mic. Then you're on Facebook. It's your one time to check into Facebook for that whole week, and all your friends are on shows, and they're having a great time, and you're writing stuff and obsessed with comedy, but you're 1,000 miles away.
Yeah.
And so we decided to come back to Kansas City and, just get jobs in an apartment, and that proved to be pretty difficult so far.
Oh, yeah?
Because I'm still battling, if I get a job, then I won't have time to do the writing I want to do. But if I do that, and I'm still balancing it. And now here I am kind of coming to the close of this where I'm going to have to get a job.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a race against the clock. How much time do I have versus how much I can get done before I have to.
Before I need a job that's going to take up the time that I'm
Yeah.
currently using for writing.
How long can I stand to live at my parents' house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How fun has that been?
They're great. But they love to do their own thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just like, this is why I moved out the first time.
Are you an only child, or do you have...
I am, yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So you moved out and they were like, oh, we have no kids. And then now you're back and they're relearning how to...
No, not necessarily, because they've always acted like they don't have a kid.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. They do their own thing. I'm becoming better friends with my parents as time goes on.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier, I feel like, in your adulthood to understand your parents.
Yeah. It was especially easy to do it from a distance when I didn't live with them.
Yes.
But now I'm in it. And I've got my girlfriend there too.
Yeah.
And so I'm exposing her to that.
How long have
But-
you and Katie been together?
Like, it's going to be 9 years in December.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So then you guys met in high school.
We did, yes.
Okay. Did you go to South too?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually met her in middle school.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You guys have known each other forever.
For a long time. We take it one day at a time.
That's great.
Except when we were signing a lease, so I guess a year at a time.
A year at a time then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, one day. And then even in the year, you were like, one day. Like, I could kick her out, right? She could leave this apartment, right? No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
no,
great.
she's super easy to get along with. I've never gotten sick of her.
Has she always also been into comedy? Is that...
No, actually.
Okay.
She was always involved in theater, though.
Yeah?
So she's always been a good performer, and I always thought she was really funny. And her mom has always told her she should be a comedian. And so when we started doing it, she was like, well, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Casey a part of that too, or...
No, we met Casey when she got a job where all of us worked. So Katie and I and some other friends worked at a dinner theater.
Okay, so you were all at the new theater.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then Casey got a job there.
Got it.
Yeah.
And was she doing comedy already, or...
I don't know for sure.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll find out some other time.
I don't think she was doing it locally,
Yeah.
but I think she had done some kind of
Yeah.
comedy.
That's cool.
Yeah. I assume she has because she's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long were you at the new theater?
I was at the new theater for like almost 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So most of the way through college,
Yeah.
and then a year after college.
Okay.
And after a year after college, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to do this
I
anymore.
can't keep doing this.
Right, because it's a trap. It is the most money you can make in the shortest amount of hours. I mean, it's a fantastic job.
Yeah.
You can make $100 in a 5-hour shift, and it's all cash in your pocket that day.
Yeah.
Plus, you get a 2-hour break because you can't do anything while the show's on,
Yeah.
and you get a free dinner,
That's, I mean...
and you get to sneak a dessert when there's an extra one. I mean, it's a miracle, but it's too good. You know, people stay for like 15, 20 years.
Yeah. So you left mostly because you're like, I can't be the guys that are here for 10 years.
I was too comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
And now I'm much less comfortable. I'll figure it out.
But do you think it's improved your comedy?
Possibly. I listened to an old set today from last February, and
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I've done this good since then. I don't know if that was just a particularly fun night or if I'm, thinking it up like through memory, but
Yeah.
so I don't know if it's improved my comedy. It has improved how much I've been writing lately.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, because besides just doing comedy, you also write like sketches, and you've written a pilot.
Mhm.
And what all do you write? Is it mostly visual? Is it like film and...
Yeah. Lately, I would say for about a year now, I've been writing sketches and a pilot.
Nice.
Yeah, the pilot all happened since I got back in town, and I've been working on an outline for a feature.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's
All
been good.
comedy as well?
All comedy. Yeah, I was trying to write a Western a few months ago and spending a lot of time on it, and it just kept adding ideas.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and I was like, there's no story, though. This is just a bunch of stuff.
Like, these would be cool Western ideas, but there's no...
Yeah, I think it'll all come together later. I'm going to
Yeah.
find the missing piece and tie it all together, but I got to wait.
That happens a lot, I feel like, in writing, where you're like, oh, these are a lot of cool ideas, and then someday something will connect them,
Mm-hmm.
or like you'll pull from it for something else later. You'll like cannibalize that idea and be like, oh no, this one will fit into here and this one will fit into that one. And
Probably, yeah. I don't like horror movies, but I had an idea for one, spurred from a nightmare I had like 3 weeks ago, and I got up and wrote the whole. Not, I don't want to say the whole outline. That's a lie. I wrote like an outline on a page.
I did that like 3 days ago.
Yeah,
Same thing. Yeah, I
based
had
on a nightmare.
Yep, had a nightmare.
If it's the same nightmare, I'm gonna cry.
Do you want to share your nightmare?
Sure.
What,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so it was very brief. There's no story to the nightmare itself. I was in my house, and then I saw this creature that was like a mix between a cuttlefish, like an octopus,
Okay, I didn't know what a cuttlefish was at first.
like a mix between a small, weird-looking octopus and a tarantula, okay? And just seeing it in my nightmare freaked me out
I don't
so
like the
bad.
idea of
I
it.
woke up. It was just horrifying to look at, and in my dream I was like, is that real or is it fake? Is that thing alive? And then all it did was just like barely move one tentacle, and I was just like, ah! Woke
That
up.
wasn't my nightmare.
I couldn't get that image out of my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing is burned into my mind. So I'm just gonna make a movie. I think like I don't like horror movies that have too much plot and like motive. I don't want motive. I want just seeing this thing to be terrifying.
Yeah. That's all you need is a good creature designer. That's what you need.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone that can design your cuttlefish tarantula.
I drew it.
Yeah?
Not well. Couldn't even look at the drawing. I was like, get this out of here.
Are you much of an artist or?
No, I'm really bad. I would like to be.
I wish I was, because like I'll have like ideas or visual thoughts and be like, oh, it has to look just like that, and I'll try to draw it. Like that doesn't look like my thought at all.
Yeah,
I just ruined it.
it's amazing how much disconnect there can be
Yeah.
in the 2.5 feet from my head to my hand.
Yeah. Very true.
I do like to design though. I
Yeah?
made the ListOff logo.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Did that in like Photoshop or?
A free version of Photoshop. Yeah.
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 Nice. I like the ListOff logo. It's got
Thank you.
it's original, if that makes sense.
Cool.
It feels original.
It
And
is
I like that about it.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted something that's like playful, but also kind of like nighttime entertainment. Like
Yeah, and there's something that like is game-like about it. You see it and you're like,
mm-hmm.
I bet that's a game show, or like I bet there's something.
Good.
I bet there's a game aspect to that. Like
Awesome.
I don't know. It's good.
That's what I was going for.
It's perfect. You did it, man. So how did you decide it was gonna be a show of lists though? Like how did that?
I think the lists specifically were Christian's idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, we're just gonna have people make lists of things.
Yeah, and at first, it was like tricky to know what kind of list topics to put out and what worked best in front of an audience.
Yeah.
And that's just taken the 2 years we've been doing it to get a feel for.
Do you do the same lists often or not?
We usually don't repeat lists. We have, but we wait a long time.
Okay.
Until we're not certain we've done it before, and then later we're like, we did do that one, but
Yeah.
we try to make sure there's enough time in between.
Yeah. I mean, it's you guys do great. It's a great show.
Cool. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
How'd you decide you were going to do like the comedy beforehand and then the list?
It's always
Aspect.
that was from the very beginning. We wanted it to be part stand up because
Okay.
it's really a stand up showcase,
Yeah.
but mostly something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to show comedians in a new way, maybe in a way you get to know them better.
Yeah, because you do. It is fun because it also seeing their comedy helps the lists. Like,
It informs the lists in a
yeah,
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
It informs the list, and you feel like you know them.
Yeah.
Like they feel like you're your buddy because you've heard them do stand up, and you know like their personality. Then you hear the list, you're like, oh, I bet that guy's gonna say something weird, or you know what I mean? Like you kind of
Right, because you get their style of comedy in a way.
exactly, yeah.
And I like that because I feel like if we just interviewed them, you wouldn't get that much out of them as
Yeah.
you do from making them make shit up.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is very true. So what do you like? What inspires your comedy? Like, what do you think your like style of comedy really is? Do you have a style that you think you fit within or not?
Well, it's funny. A lot of my jokes recently have been based on lists. But
I've seen some of those that you just you've got like the lists of like nicknames
yeah,
or yeah.
yeah, I it's not intentional, and I don't know that I have found what I would call my style yet.
Yeah.
I still feel like I'm feeling around in the dark, but I'm really trying to focus on uh, bringing how I'm funny in person to life on stage.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the
and I'm just
hardest
trying to.
thing I feel
It's
like.
really difficult. It's
Yeah.
difficult to write for anybody, let alone a comedian whose style is unclear. And I think that's what makes writing jokes difficult. But I try to just keep up on it and try new stuff a lot.
Yeah.
I tend to try like a new joke every week if I can.
Do you really?
Yeah, and most of them don't go well, but every now and then you find one that you connect with people with.
How often do you go to open mics? I feel like
It varies.
Yeah.
When I was living in Kansas City, so before we moved out of our place and all that and went on the road, we were trying to hit like almost every open mic.
Okay.
And then for a period when we got back, because that's what we came back to do, we were trying to hit almost every mic. The last month or so, maybe the last 90 days, I've slacked just from the pressure of my situation.
Yeah.
But I'm all about trying to create a situation where it's easier to do more regularly.
Yeah. What kind of job are you looking for now?
Anything to do with writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I would
you're trying
like
to
that number one.
you're trying to make it somewhat creative at least.
Somewhat creative.
You don't
Any
want to
kind
just
of
go
creative
back
job.
to serving or
Right. If I have to, I will.
Yeah.
But I really, really don't want to have to. I would
Yeah.
love for my next job to be in any way career related.
Yeah. I understand that feeling
Yeah.
100%. Cuz yeah, like every once in a while we'll get to a point where like I'll pick up a job for like a couple weeks or a couple months.
Hmm.
And every time it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like it doesn't feel like it's forwarding my career and that time feels wasted. Even though I'm making money, that
Mhm.
time feels wasted because it's not making money in anything that's forwarding my
Right. Yeah.
person.
And then it makes it depressing to go to work. You know, 'cause
Yes.
you're like, I have these things I want to work on.
Yeah.
I can't.
Like yeah, exactly. Like I've got this script I want to work on or these jokes that I need to turn into a set list for a show that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't because you have to go stand ringing someone up for 5 hours or bringing people hamburgers.
Right.
Oh god.
Yeah. Yeah. And dealing with people who are mad because their salad took too long
Yeah.
to get there.
Yeah, and
it's
you're like,
just
I didn't have the control over that even.
Yeah.
Often.
Be like, don't talk to me like I'm an idiot because your salad is late. I'm trying to be
Yeah.
a writer. You know, like you don't even know me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's totally understandable. Yeah.
At least with serving though, you can try to be funny at work.
Yeah.
And so that was always nice. That was like my saving grace. I was like, well, I'll just try to be as funny as I can while I'm at work.
You'll get as many laughs as
I'm
possible.
gonna treat it like a 5-hour open mic.
You just came
Yeah.
up with like little bits, just like did a
Yeah,
single
I would go
show.
into my manager's office and be like, "Oh my god, a lady found a tuft of cat hair in her salad." And he would sit up and be like, "What?" And then the manager who's heard it before would be like, "Don't listen to him."
He's heard that joke.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to entertain myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're not entertaining your manager at all.
No, but I bet they miss it.
They're like, man, do you remember that kid who used to really freak us out like twice a night? Miss him. That's great.
Yeah, it was great.
So you guys doing another season? So what made you decide there were seasons to list off? Just out of curiosity.
Well, we were like probably 5 months in. I don't remember the exact moment, so I'm gonna assume we were most of the way through the first season, and we were like, "What is this? When does it? When does it end? When is there a break?
Yeah.
You know, if we wanted a month off, when would that be?
Yeah.
And also, is this leading towards something? And would it be cool to bring back the winners?" So we were like, well, if we brought back winners, that's a finale.
Yeah.
So,
That makes sense.
Yeah. And it just works out perfectly that we have 9 months of regular shows and then 9 winners, you know, so we
Yeah.
can do a tournament and we do it all in 1 month.
Nice. And then you have 2 months off?
So what we did last year is we had the tournament in October.
Okay.
And then in November, we did a special edition with some out-of-towners.
Oh, cool.
And then in December, we did a Christmas special where we had 9 people on in one night. and then had a mini tournament that
How
night.
long did that show go?
It was the same length because with 9 comedians, we just gave them each 5 minutes.
Got it.
And then the second half, everybody only got to be in one round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
That
then we
makes
had like a
sense then.
fourth round for the winners of those rounds.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think Jake Redpath was our Christmas champion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good time. So we kind of want to do that again. Obviously, we switched November and October.
Yeah.
So we did a special show.
In October.
Yeah, and we'll
Yeah.
do the tournament in November.
What do you, so after November, when are you coming back? You coming back December? Or
Yeah, I think we're probably going to do the Christmas episode like we
Nice.
did last year. That was a fun one. And season 3, we've talked about a lot.
Yeah?
If we do it, it'll be very different.
Why?
I don't want to give anything away.
I understand.
Yeah, but we've talked about...
You've got some...
We're thinking after this season, if we do this season, it'll be the last one probably.
Yeah.
And that's not final either, but we're thinking
I understand.
maybe by that time we're going to be like relocating maybe, something like that. We don't want to lock ourselves into like 5 years of this.
Yeah. No, that's understandable.
Yeah, we'd rather
And
end
like,
it on our
I don't know
terms.
if anybody necessarily like is holding you to continuing through a season. If
No,
like
yeah.
the best opportunity ever came through, no one would be like, man, Nick Manfredi really fucked us. He didn't
Right? Yeah.
give us another list off.
Have fun in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to do a third season, but we're still gonna work it out and make sure we want to commit to another year of it before we do that.
So you would want to commit to a year though, like personally at least.
Yeah, I'm open to it. I have some reservations, but
What makes you not want to do another list off?
well, right now with no job and no
Home.
like home, I'm like, what if I just relocate?
Yeah.
Because the reason I didn't a couple years ago was because I was tied down with a job and a lease and graduating.
I understand.
Yeah, so I'm just like, while I have this freedom, maybe I should just go.
It's not the worst idea.
So that's kind of my hang up.
I've thought about it many times.
Yeah.
If we didn't have all the pets, we
Yeah.
might have done it.
Yeah, there you go. It's really tempting, isn't it? Especially in this field.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because there are cities with more opportunities.
Yeah.
Not
I'll take
just-
any opportunity.
Yeah. Not necessarily like better or like easier, but more.
More opportunity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I mean, who's to say we don't pick the show up someday?
Yeah.
Maybe even in a different place.
List off LA.
Could be. It could happen.
Is that what you're thinking about going then? Would LA be?
No, I think it would be Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a little more opportunity.
Yeah.
They have way more open mics. Are you familiar with the open mics in Chicago? I've just been nerding out about it lately.
I mean, like, I know that there are open mics in Chicago.
Okay, so on a Monday night here, there's 2, right?
Yeah.
In Chicago, there's 13.
Whoa.
Yeah, and you couldn't go to all
You
of
can't
them,
go to 13, obviously.
obviously, but it's still more options. That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. And I've heard that a lot of them are really terrible because they're all comics.
Yeah.
But even still, I think that'd be fun to get on stage 3 or 4 times in one night.
Yes. That is the thing that a lot of comedians talk about is being able to do 3 or 4 spots a night that I'm like, that would be incredible.
That's heavy lifting. I think that's how you learn something.
Yeah.
Even if they're not great rooms. But I don't know what I'm talking about because I haven't been there.
Yeah.
But I also would like to do improv classes there.
Understandable.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. Have you done much improv comedy besides like what you...
I've been taking
on
classes
your
for
own?
5 weeks now.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
With Kick?
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
I love it.
Yeah?
It is some of the most fun I've ever had. They're
That's
a
awesome.
very welcoming community. I recommend it. A lot of people are really weird about improv. I hear people talk trash on it a lot. I guess that's just stand-ups.
I think a lot of stand-ups, at least from my experience, is stand-ups think it's hokey.
Yeah, yeah. And improvisers, I guess, don't care at all.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen people having a real good time because we've gone to some of the Kick shows.
The
and
Kick shows are great.
They're fantastic.
And
Yeah.
they get great audiences.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They
Which
have
is-
a great community.
And that's a thing that, like, I am trying to figure out. Just because of being in the stand-up community for almost 2 years now. I think what's missing from our community is an audience, which is an important part to a performance community.
For sure.
And I'm just trying to figure out why we're missing an audience. Like,
what is the disconnect?
Yeah, exactly. Where is that audience?
It's like the stand-up scene here works in a vacuum.
Yes, and the only people that know about it. Like, nobody else knows it exists. It's only the comedians that are currently involved that know it exists and are currently trying to build it. Where, like, Kick, there's obviously, like, there's people taking classes. There's the shows that sell out. Like, they fill that theater.
They sell out. Yeah.
They sell out that theater multiple times a
weekend. The tickets
weekend.
are expensive on some of them too.
Exactly.
I think $15 is a lot to ask for one person for 80 minutes of show.
I agree. I did photos for the improv festival. It was amazing. Like, I love all those performers. I love everybody that put it on. The tickets were outrageous though, but they sold out.
It's amazing. I don't know.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, I'm the improv training center.
Yeah.
So I'm in a class of like 10 people, but out of all the classes, there's like over 100 people.
Yeah.
Meeting every Monday night. And I think it's cool to see that many people.
Where do they meet nowadays?
It's at Trinity Lutheran Church.
Okay, so it's still there. Cool.
Yeah.
And they're all on Monday nights though?
Yeah, all the classes meet at the same time.
Crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's cool. And I think every other week, all of the classes go to Lucky Brew Grill.
Oh, yeah?
And 2 of the classes perform. And then they have like an open jam where anybody can perform.
Really?
And you have to be a student to go.
Oh,
but it's like you're in this bar basement with 100 people that are all there for the same reason.
Yeah.
Stand-up doesn't have anything like that.
No. And like, yeah, I don't know what we're doing wrong, but I mean, Kick's got it right. The improv community's got it right, because there are other improv shows that also sell out around town.
Yeah.
And the
Comedy
fact that
City.
like, Comedy City, Improv Test Kitchen.
Yeah.
And the fact that they exist and that they can sell their tickets for a much higher price than stand-up comedy shows they're doing something right, and we're lacking somewhere.
I wish there was a way to bring these scenes together, because I think they could be pretty mutually benefited.
I absolutely loved that Christian had the improv guys at the Kick show last Monday.
Were they good? I've seen those guys. What is their group name?
I don't remember.
No
I'm
biggie.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's their names are Rocky and Alex.
Yes.
But I don't remember their last names, but they're really good. I've seen them at Comedy City.
They're both Comedy City guys, and I saw them at the improv festival. I don't know their names, but they did good. I thought it was a really fun show.
You know, there's some creative shows coming out of that community too.
Yes.
Like I saw the Science Guys. I think that's the podcast name.
I haven't seen that.
2 improvisers who are also science educators take science questions from the audience, try their best to explain them, and then improvise scenes based on the explanation.
That's really cool.
It was great. They're really funny.
That's incredible. Have you seen and or listened to the Garbage Pail Kids? Garbage Pail Kids?
No.
They're improvisers in town as well, and they're 3 guys who do an improvised, pretty much radio show.
Cool.
Comedy radio show, and besides doing it like in their basement as a podcast, they also perform it as an improvised show, and they do an improv style called the Bat, which is they black out the stage and you just have to sit there and listen to them perform
Very cool.
an improvised podcast that they then record and they put up, and it's incredible. They're great, and I don't know.
I love that kind of stuff. I love the creativity.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like with that, I think a lot of people think that improv is hokey, but like I've seen some incredible shows that are in no way like just some jokes. Like they can pull like emotion and seriousness into some of those scenes even, and I've seen it happen, and it's beautiful.
The level of commitment in improv to the bits that come up too.
Yeah.
Because like as an improviser, you don't know what's happening, and now you have to play a snake.
Yeah.
And seeing a guy just flop on the floor and start hissing,
Yeah, they'll just go for it.
Yeah.
They will throw themselves around.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I wish I had that ability to just commit
Yeah.
to something
Is that
like
your
that.
biggest thing? Is your
I think
commitment
I
to
have
the
like
bit?
some sort of internal block, and I'm trying to work through it
Yeah.
because it's affected my acting, it's affected my stand-up, and I just have to. There's like this small barrier of commitment where I can't 100% commit to a bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just have to chip away at it till I break through.
Huh.
I hope that's how it works.
Yeah. Like, I'm just gonna keep hitting myself against that wall until one day the wall falls down, and
Yeah.
you're just committed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if I could do improv class every day instead of once a week,
Yeah.
I might get through it a little faster. But I don't know.
So you do that every Monday though?
Every Monday, yeah.
That's great.
We're on week 6, I think.
How many weeks is it?
Just 8.
Just you sound so sad.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I want to keep it
man.
up, and we have to take December off before the next group starts in January.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're gonna miss a whole month of classes, man.
I guess. I hope they still do the drop-in class on Saturdays.
Oh yeah, I forget about that.
That's a fun time.
Have you done it?
I did it one time, yeah. It was a blast. There were like 30 people, and
So
you pay $15 for 2 hours.
what do you do in like an improv class? Do you do a lot of improv or
Yeah, it's all, so you do warm-ups, which are
Okay.
some kind of game,
Yeah.
and then you play really quick improv games, and then a little bit longer improv games,
Yeah.
and then a little bit longer improv games, and then it's done.
Okay.
And some of those games are like scenes, and some of them are just like pretend you're holding a ball of pure anger. And so when you're holding it, it makes you scream, right? And then you have to throw it to somebody, and when they catch it, now they have to scream.
They have
I mean,
the
it's just
ball of anger.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a blast.
Cool. So it is mostly improv games
Yeah, it's
is
all
what you
improv
do
games. Yeah.
at class. And the goal and the way it's like teaching you is to play these games better and with more commitment and
Well, each game I found has like a specific focus. You know, like there'll be a game that focuses on character work.
yeah.
There'll be a game that focuses on emotion. There's a game that focuses on commitment, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The hardest one we did, this one drives me crazy. I didn't enjoy it, but I'm amazed with how difficult it was for me.
Yeah.
So our teacher tells the 10 people in our class, stand up, just start wandering around the room. So
Yeah.
everybody's just wandering around the room. And then he says, okay, start pretending to be excited for what you're going to do this weekend. And imagine while you're walking around that you're talking to somebody about it. So there's 10 people walking around a room talking to themselves. And it's very difficult to focus. And then he, like the teacher was like, okay, so just bring up the level of excitement.
Yeah.
Now bring it to a 3. Now bring it to a 5. Now bring it to a 10. And so everybody's just like walking around
Just like
shouting.
shouting at how excited they are about their weekend.
Yeah. And it was just difficult, but I guess it kind of, I could feel it hit that block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That commitment block.
Yeah.
So do you think that part of that for you is like you're too concerned about what's going around you to fully commit to what's going on internally?
It's possible. I think it might be like I'm overthinking the choices I make with what I'm
Okay.
doing. And so then I'm like criticizing myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're viewing it and you're like, that's not as committed as he should have been in that moment. And then he's like, you get too in your head about like that and like, oh, my hand gesture should have been different there.
Like I
and
should be thinking about shouting and being excited for what I'm going to do, but I'm thinking like,
you're
what are
thinking,
you shouting
how
about?
do you shout?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. I gotta
Yeah.
just throw that away.
Yeah. I find myself doing that a lot on stage as well.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the things that I think I get caught up in comedy is that like I start analyzing how the set has done before the set is over.
Oh, you're just thinking about like how it's going
Yeah.
while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I feel you there for sure.
And that's like that I get so caught up in that I'm just I'll end sets early. I like leave stage early at mics a lot when like you got 5 minutes, I'll be done in 3. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
just stay up on stage, like do something, just like play around. And I have trouble like recalling bits though too. I'm bad at that.
It's tough, especially when people are staring at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So as a city planner and as a person who's in the improv and comedy group, what do you think we can do to fix our comedy scene? What's our city?
To get
Of
more
comedy
more
needing.
butts and seats, more
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah, or just like better scene.
Well, a lot of the chances that you have to see the improv scene, which is doing well,
Yeah.
are at very well practiced,
Yeah.
long-running shows. Shows that are cornerstones.
Yeah. Shows
And
that people know and respect and have been sitting there for 20 years.
yeah. But in our stand-up scene, the opportunity to see comedians is an open mic,
Yeah.
and you're not going to get the same level of quality there.
Yeah.
So
That's
I think
true.
we need more shows
More showcase shows.
produced by people who really care.
Yeah.
And that's tough to do. I think like you guys are doing a great job with Laugh KC.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because is that bringing in like a comparable number of people to improv?
50.
Yeah, and you've been doing it for a year now, right?
Yeah, we've done I think this is our 6th show.
Excellent.
So,
and
yeah.
people leave with a tape.
Yep.
The tape becomes an advertisement. I think it's great.
Yeah.
We need more
Yeah,
shows like that where people are they really care about the product.
I agree.
Because in stand-up, people care about their own product.
Yes.
And they're bringing it to an open mic. And sometimes
it's not going to be good.
Sometimes they don't feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that what we need to find a way to create more quality showcase shows that are affordable for now so that people can just experience stand-up comedy and think of that as a thing to go to.
Yeah.
Because like that's what I've realized is like in the 2 years I've been doing it is that a lot of people don't even know there is stand-up comedy in Kansas City.
They don't know where to see it.
They don't know where to see it.
No idea.
They don't even know it. Yeah, they don't know it's happening in
They
Kansas
think about
City.
Stanford and Sons, which is usually off-putting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like they just think of, oh, it's that thing that's on television. I didn't know I could go to a show.
Yeah.
And just see people do stand-up.
Yeah, you think it's like a New York thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had people come and be like, oh, I've never even thought of going to stand-up as a show. Or like, I've never seen a stand-up comic. And I'm like,
I wonder how many of those people didn't know there was stand-up going on, decided to take a risk on an open mic.
And then they don't go ever again.
They'll never go back.
Yeah. That's something that scares me every time I'm at an open mic and I see like new audience members. I'm like, are we going to get you back? Like,
yeah.
And if we're not, like, what are we doing? Like, what could we do better to have someone come to an open mic and be like, yeah, comedy is a fun thing to do again. Like, how can we?
It's tough, especially when some comedians turn on the audience.
Yes. Yeah. That is the scariest thing, is because once a comedian turns on an audience.
You guys won't shut up and listen to me. Why don't you all die? Oh, by the way, will you come to my show?
Yeah. Yeah. Because like at the Mockingbird Thursday night, there were two audience members. Pretty much that was it. I don't know if you noticed that there was only 2 people that were real audience members.
I noticed it was a tough room that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those 2 people, I was talking to them on the patio before the show started. They didn't know there was an open mic.
Oh, yeah.
They were just at Mockingbird.
Yeah, there you go.
And like they had finished their meal and like me and somebody else were like chatting with them. They're like, yeah, I guess we'll stay for the open mic. We can do that. And they're like, there's comedy in town? We're like, yeah, there's kind of like, it's happening a lot. And they're like, oh, where else is it?
Get their hopes up.
And we were telling them everywhere else that there was stand-up comedy in town. And like, they were really excited at the beginning of the night. I don't know if they left the show thinking, we should go to one of those other shows those guys told us about.
They might have thought that's the whole scene right
there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, there were some guys that came in from out of town, from southern Michigan. And they hit up Christian and Casey to help them put on a show.
Okay.
But they didn't make it clear. Like, they were like, we're doing a tour.
Yeah.
We'll, like, we booked this venue. You guys be on the show. We'll come down. And they didn't make it clear.
That's super vague.
It was too vague. They didn't make it clear who was supposed to promote the show. I ended up hosting it, and they texted me the day before, and they were like, hey, how many people do you think are going to be there? I was like, oh. I was like,
you're like, I didn't know that that was my job.
That's on you guys. And then when they showed up, there was like 2 people in the audience, and we all performed. But they left Kansas City under the impression that that's the comedy scene in Kansas City. That Arts Bar had 2 audience members, and there's 3 comedians.
Yeah.
And that's the whole scene. That was their impression. We tried to explain to them, like, no, there's lots going on. Everybody's at a different show tonight.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, so like people can build weird opinions of stand up based on one.
One night
Yeah.
influences most people's opinions for that idea
Mm-hmm.
forever.
Yeah. So I guess it's a consistency. Is that what it
Yeah.
boils down to? That
I guess.
the improv scene is consistent
Yeah.
and the stand up scene is not?
Yeah, I guess because like even like the like more indie improv shows, like Improv Test Kitchen, they always
Yeah.
have like, even if they're like new groups, they're groups that have veteran improv artists in them, or like they'll have one group that is a veteran group. So like I think it is, yeah, it's a consistency. There's always at least something good.
Something good, yeah.
Yeah.
And they have a whole team to rely on.
And there isn't that fear where I think you get in comedy of they're going to attack the audience. I've never
Right.
seen an improv show where it wasn't going well and they were like, well, fuck you guys. Like,
Right, never.
I've never-
Never.
yeah.
No, they just keep going
Yeah,
because they're winging it.
exactly.
And a comedian spent a whole day writing something
Yes.
to be performed.
Yeah.
And now, because somebody heckled,
And maybe they've performed
they
it a
threw
couple
a
times
wrench in
even.
his plan. It's bringing the plan
Yeah.
on stage. It's like bringing your hopes up there. And then you tear them up in front of people.
Yeah. I think that's another thing, though, is that, like, if we had more veteran comics, like stand-ups, who were coming to the open mics and consistently performed well. Because, like, in LA and New York, you go to an open mic and you're going to see a lot of terrible comics,
Right.
but you might see Chris Rock.
You might. Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard
You-
Tim Meadows showed up at a Chicago open mic on
Exactly.
a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have no clue who you're going to see. And that's kind of the excitement of an open mic.
Yeah.
Kansas City, we don't have like, you might see a star, but there are comics in KC that if they came out consistently and like if they performed at those mics, I think that they could raise the quality of a mic.
For sure. I think a lot of
But-
those guys have left also.
Yeah.
They've relocated.
Yeah.
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 That's one thing is like people get good.
And they
They
leave.
leave. Yeah.
Which makes sense because Kansas City isn't the hub of comedy.
No. I was listening to a podcast with TJ Miller.
Yeah.
And it was years ago, so I don't know what his experience was. But he said, he was like, yeah, if you want to do comedy, like, he was just naming cities that aren't New York or LA that have good scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he specifically said, and this is the only city he said this about, he said, don't go to Kansas City.
Okay, so that's something that I've learned also, is that the big names in comedy believe Kansas City is not a city for comedy.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
Um,
they're anti our, like, not just our scene, but our town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Mark Maron, when he was coming to Kansas City, he repeatedly on his podcast was like, then I've got Kansas City in November. Don't know how that's gonna go. Like every time, every episode leading up to the show, and then eventually, like, I was kind of pleased because after he did the show, he was like, "It wasn't that bad, guys." Like, I was like, "Why?" I don't know where that myth came from, but we have that struggle now where we're fighting against it
Mm-hmm.
because, yeah,
And it's changing, you know?
Yeah.
People are putting on shows. It's, the scene is maybe growing.
I think it is growing.
I don't know. When I started, people in the scene told me, like, that it had changed a lot very recently before I started.
Yeah,
So I don't know anything about what went
where
on
it
before
was
that.
3 years ago.
Yeah, but
yeah.
people would say stuff like, "Yeah, there used to be way better people, and they're all gone." I don't know. I have no clue. Are we still living in their shadow?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Cause yeah, I came in 2 years ago, and I think there are plenty of people in the scene trying to build something at least,
Good.
and that's good.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what you and Evan are doing is great.
We enjoy it.
Like,
I like being a producer of a show.
yeah,
I think it's fun.
and I think that's what we need more of is more people that are like willing to produce a quality show that
Consistently.
consistently shows. Yeah, exactly. Because like ListOff is consistent, so it brings a consistent type of audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People
yeah.
know-
There's a group of audience members that we don't know personally
That come.
that come to most shows.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But like people even know like, oh, there's a show that happens first Tuesday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
It's comedy, and that's consistent and understandable. But like a lot of the moving shows or the shows that like happen once and then never happen again, like that's not going to build your audience really. Because like if someone drops into ListOff because a friend tells them ListOff's cool, and then at ListOff they're like, oh, I can come to ListOff again, they understand that at least that show happens more than once.
Yes.
Whereas
yeah.
seeing a random comedy show and having a friend be like, oh yeah, I saw a random comedy show.
You don't know what to expect.
You never know when another random comedy show happens or how or what. But like ListOff has a name. You can find it. It happens again.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Stuff
It's
like
got a
that
page.
helps.
You can follow us.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think stuff like that helps the scene a lot.
For sure. It gives you something to count on.
Yeah.
You know, I think if the pitch warmed up to our scene a little bit, and would it
True.
hurt? Would it hurt to put the open mics on the calendar?
It wouldn't.
I don't know.
It wouldn't at all.
Yeah.
Or like, because like they
Or
do
some of the monthly shows.
The pitch even does like Best of KC.
Mm-hmm.
If it did a Best of KC comics,
They did.
did they?
Yeah. I remember people got really
Butthurt about it?
I think so. Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah, and it's like, why mention the comedians themselves, but not the shows or where to see it or the venues?
I get that.
You
That
know?
makes sense.
Yeah, because then people reading it just assume that it's a comedian who happens to live here.
Yeah.
Not that they do it
Not
here.
that they're performing comedy here.
Right.
That makes sense. But I also feel like if you are reading the pitch and like, because they're also like Best of Kansas City Improv
Mm-hmm.
is one of the things that they often do. And so like I know for friends of mine that are in that group, like when you get like your name on that helps you advertise. You're like, oh, I was in the pitch, and then people are like, oh, maybe I'll see their show again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gives you
yeah.
a credibility.
You missed out, and now you want to go.
Exactly. Yeah. So it gives you that credibility, and people are like, oh, they were in the pitch like as number 3. Like I should go see their show again,
Mhm.
or I should go see their show because I've known them forever and I've never seen it.
Okay. Yeah.
So it helps give credibility, and also like if you are a random person reading the pitch and you're like, who's the best comic in Kansas City? Oh, it says Merritt Lemons. I'll Google her. And you Google her, and then you find, oh, she has like 6 shows in Kansas City this month. Maybe I'll go
Yes.
see one of those.
Yeah, there you go.
And then
'Cause
maybe that happens to
you
be
at least are familiar with that person.
exactly.
So you have an idea what.
You're starting
what
to
to
learn
expect.
how to find a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I think the Fringe Festival has helped with that too,
Yeah.
because Jamie Campbell did an hour show
Yeah.
that wasn't strictly stand up,
but it
he
kind of
made
was.
He made it clear that he is a stand up,
Yes.
and so
Yeah.
I think if he can put on a show like that and do as well as he did, that's a level of consistency there too.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think that's part of it. And then just like, I think like Evan's open mic is great for the scene
Yeah,
because like the Westport Coffee House is a theater.
it's the only open mic in a theater right now.
Yes. It's the only open mic where people
I don't count
are
Arts
choosing to be there.
Yeah,
Like,
with money.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even because like it can't sustain as a free mic.
Right.
But even if it was a free mic, if we had more mics in theaters, every mic in a theater proves those audience members want to be there, not they happened upon
They
an
didn't
open
walk
mic.
into a bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They didn't walk into a bar and go, oh shit, comedy's happening? Do I want to be here?
We want people that want to be there too. 'Cause
Exactly.
That's a good audience.
That's the audience you want.
Yeah, I don't want to
not-
win people over.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That shouldn't be your job.
No, I mean it kind of is, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is part of your job. But they should want you to be at least on stage.
Mm-hmm.
They should at least want someone on stage.
At least somebody.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they don't want Nick Manfredi, but they want somebody on that stage.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's helpful. And that's why, like, the audience at Westport is one of my favorites.
He books good features from out of town too,
Yeah,
and so did Corso.
yeah. Corso did great starting that mic.
I saw some good shows there that I did not expect to be good shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that Evan has taken that mantle.
Yeah, me too.
Very, very pleased. Yeah. Well, thanks for being on the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me. We should get started on it soon, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Does the podcast start eventually? No, this was great.
Have we been recording this whole time?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
The whole time.
It was great.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. Well, there you go. Now you know more about Nick Manfredi, co-creator of ListOff. Don't miss your chance to catch a show this November. Every Tuesday night at Tapcade, the people performing are winners of previous ListOff shows, so there's sure to be some good list making. Also, make sure you catch Nick Manfredi on Laugh KC on November 2nd. I absolutely love all the projects that IX Productions does, but Laugh KC and this podcast are kind of like my babies. So please come support my baby and see Nick Manfredi do stand-up comedy. I guess, as we were saying in the podcast, please come support stand-up comedy in general. This city has a growing stand-up comedy community, and we need an audience. And we want you. Yeah, you specifically. Come to a show. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you listen to it on, as well as subscribing to the IX Productions YouTube page. All right, well, I guess you'll hear from me next time when I've got the other half of the ListOff duo on. So listen next week to me and Evan Christian Gold.